If you've watched any videos in this channel, you'll know how unique the footballing experience is in Argentina. But for more than a decade, something has been missing, and something quite big. From La Bombonera to the Stadium of News Old Boys, away fans have been banned from matches. The songs, the atmosphere, all still happens, but only from one side. Finally, now that's about to change, and test events have already taken place with the aim of bringing away fans back as a permanent feature in Argentina. This is going to change the atmosphere completely off the games, and in this video we're going to take a look at what it means for the country's football, and if you want to head to Argentina, what difference it will make to your experience going there. Firstly, why was there a ban on away fans? Well, it didn't appear out of nowhere. For years, away fans were a common feature of Argentinian football, just like in any other country. But for years, the country struggled with violence at football matches, and eventually it pushed security services and the then government to the point where they had to ban the fans entirely. It was back in 2007 that a Tigre fan sadly lost his life at a match against Nueva Chicago. Now that incident led to away fans being banned at away matches in lower league divisions, so it didn't apply to the top division. But sadly, just a number of years later, in 2013, that would change. Once again, another fan sadly lost their life. This time a Lanús supporter during confrontations with police in a stadium. After that, the government of the day decided that enough was enough, and alongside the Argentinian Football Association, it was decided that a temporary ban will be placed on away fans, and that ban has stood to this year. Now, we must say at the start of this video that this ban has been in place for league matches. So there have been cup competitions where rival fans have been in the same stadium, but that has usually taken place in a neutral city. So for example, if Boca have played San Lorenzo, being from the same city of Buenos Aires, it would have been played in Cordoba or Rosario, one of the stadiums in those cities, to keep it on neutral ground. A big trip for such a match, but it was just league matches. So that means when I was in Argentina watching some of the best atmospheres in the world, there was always a point of me which thought, wonder what this would be like as an away fan. You know, I've done several videos with fans, traveling with the fans to the matches, but that was only the home matches. So it felt like an away day for me because I was visiting that country, but that was just part and parcel of going to the football for them. An amazing experience all around, of course. But there was always that part of me when I was in Argentina which just thought I would love a proper Argentinian away day. I mean, think about El Super Clasico between Boca Juniors and River Plate. Now, those atmospheres are known for being some of the best in the world, but just imagine the Monumental filled with River Plate fans and then 5,000, say, Boca fans in the corner. Could you imagine the atmosphere that that would create? And that's what used to exist, but it hasn't for so long now. And I remember speaking to one fan who remembered the old days of away fans being in the football stadiums. And he said something very poetic, and I can't remember it word for word, but he just said something along the lines of, the atmospheres are great, but it's just not the same. And that struck me because I thought, these atmospheres are unbelievable, man. These are some of the best atmospheres I've ever witnessed in my life. But he still said there's something missing, and that really made me think about what an impact the lack of away fans have had on not just the atmospheres, but just the culture in general. The concept of this ban was straightforward. If there's only home fans in the ground, well, security services could, of course, more easily manage the security in the stadium. That's not to say that there weren't problems with home fans, but to take out that dimension of rival fans being in the ground simultaneously while a match is going on or before and after a match, it meant that it was more easily contained if anything actually happened. And I think back as well during my time in Argentina, you know, the sight of police officers in front of the usual, say, stewards was a common sight. And I got very used to showing my ID just to get into a match, which was usually along the lines of me walking up to the police saying, soy extranjero, tengo mi pasaporte acá, and after that it was like, no worries, you know, they understood that I was from abroad. But you can imagine the different dynamic if it was a local, say, or if it was someone that they suspected to be from another team. But what was the price of this ban. For many fans, it was the atmosphere. I mean, think about all the amazing atmospheres that there are in Argentina, and then add in another dimension of away fans being there, making their own noise, the sound reverberating off each other. Even when a goal goes in, for example, you think about it, when the away team scored, when I was at the games in Argentina, it was just kind of a silence, and then the bands would just carry on playing. You know, there was no point where you looked up and saw someone else celebrating, which to me is just such a core component of football. Like, you obviously don't want the other team to score against you, but for those 10 seconds when you concede a goal, you just stand there and just go and just look at the floor. But you know, if you look up, you're going to be watching other people celebrate, or even just when they score, looking over and seeing them celebrate. It's not something that you want for your team, but it's just part and parcel of the game. And it was bizarre, to be honest, not having that experience, just having this weird kind of hum, and then the bands would stop for maybe a split second and then continue playing. So what has happened to spur on this change? The Argentinian Football Association held consultations with government officials over the last 2 years, and they eventually came to the conclusion that it was slowly suitable to bring back away fans into the stadiums. To do so, though, would require a lot of testing and a lot of patience from the fans. The first thing they did was holding a pilot event in May of this year. That was a Copa Argentina game at San Lorenzo Stadium, but it was between Argentinos Juniors and Excursionistas, and I hope I said that right. I mean, I haven't spoke Spanish in a few months, but that's my best bet. But this was a crucial match in the pilot because it was the first time the two clubs from Buenos Aires had met as rival fans in the same stadium in their own city since the ban was enforced. San Lorenzo's ground still acted as a neutral venue, but the fact it was in the city itself showed that progress had been made. With that test event having been seen as being successful, it was on the 17th of July of this year the Argentinian Football Association finally lifted that 12-year ban on away fans being in grounds in the country. On the 19th of July, almost at the first opportunity, Rosario Central fans were able to travel to Lanús in a domestic league match. 6,500 of their fans went to the match, and you can just see how colourful it looked in the corner, and it would have been great to be at that match. Simultaneously, River Plate visited Instituto in Cordoba at the Mario Alberto Kempes Stadium, where 30,000 away tickets were made available. 30,000 for a domestic league away game? It's pretty nuts. But considering the size of River Plate as a club in the country, and especially how they have fans throughout the country, you can see how they managed to fill that out. And this ground was chosen specifically because of its size, its modern facilities, and the fact that it's often held host to those cup competition games that have occurred where both sets of fans have been in the stadium. So it wasn't almost a test run for the ground itself, it was more of a test run for the domestic league match. They've done it, proven experience, especially the local police. So that was seen as a great spot to do this tester. And thankfully, it was successful. Soon after, San Lorenzo fans, who we've got big connections to on this channel, were on their first away day in years. Now, I saw footage from the day of our friends of the channel who support San Lorenzo in the away end that day, and I have to say the atmosphere looked brilliant. While there's a lot of excitement, it has to be said that everything is still moving at a slower pace. It's not just like the ban gets lifted, everyone goes back to being away fans, Boca fans can go to River Plate next week. It's unfortunately not going to happen like that, and there's a list of concerns for the reason behind that. The main thing being that every stadium is different in terms of their security concerns, their ability to get away fans into the ground, and various other factors. You think about those big stadiums that we're using to test, like we've showed, for example, in Cordoba. Well, that's a massive bowl stadium with a massive infrastructure around it, not so much in the centre of town. But when you talk about clubs like Hurricane, Boca Juniors, for example, the ability to then get away fans into those grounds is a bit more complex. Basically what I'm saying is there's a lot more to it than just open up the gates and saying that away fans can finally return. But let's be honest here, I'm excited to see what the atmospheres are going to produce with the return of away fans, and it's one thing that just makes me really want to go back to Argentina even more. It's going to completely change the dynamic of matches across the country, and importantly as well, there's a whole generation now of people who have grown up and not been able to go as an away fan to the matches. And I think about it, if you're like 25 now, you're looking at, you were probably born in 2000, you were 13 when this ban came in, so you've never really been able to have the ability to go with your mates, make some amazing displays for the away end, and just have that experience as an away fan. So the atmospheres that come from this are probably going to be fantastic because they just simply haven't had the opportunity to do it for so many years, and the ability to do it now is going to make them want to do it even more. Just look at some of these atmospheres that away fans brought to stadiums over the years before the ban was brought into place. The fact that these are coming back is something that I can't wait for. If you're Argentinian, we'd love to know your comments below about what difference this will make. And also, if you're a fan who wants to go to Argentina, is this something that makes it even more exciting for you? If you've been to Argentina yourself already, say, as a tourist, is this something that you just felt was missing from the grounds as well? Like, I love the country, I love the atmosphere, but like we said earlier, it just felt like there was just that one piece of the puzzle missing. But anyway, this has been another video from the Partido where we talk about the Spanish football speaking world in English. I'm buzzing to get back to Argentina when I can, and as we always say here, nos vemos in the next video.